The Jaguars. So they went 9-8 last year. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. Some notable losses include Marvin Jones Jr., Juwan Taylor, Shaquille Griffin. Some notable additions include Tank Bigsby, Calvin Ridley. They did trade for him mid-season, but he's coming off suspension, so that's why I added him here. They added Brenton Strange and Anton Harrison. They go from tied 26th strength of schedule to 23rd. And one note is that Cam Robinson, their offensive tackle, is suspended 4 games. So what do we think about the Jaguars?
I I love the Jaguars. I don't I don't know why. I mean, that they have a bunch of pieces, and I I don't know. I don't know why. They just maybe it's because they got a guy named Josh Allen on their team too. I don't I have no idea. But I really like the Jaguars. I mean, it's their division. Maybe that's part of the reason why I like them because they got some easy division games and they're guaranteed a playoff spot pretty much before the season even starts. So I don't know why. I mean, you can look at their roster and I mean, they even got better this offseason after spending all that money last year. Um, Trevor Lawrence is finally, I think, starting to come into his own. I think that's in large part to Doug Peterson and getting rid of that whole previous regime that we won't even talk about. But um, yeah, between Lawrence coming into his own last year, I I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be considered a rookie year for ETN, but I mean, he balled out. Thank you for my fantasy points. I really like this roster. I don't know if it's just because of all the years I pulled for like mediocre Bills teams and this team on paper looks like it, but they're not. They're much better. And that may be just my soft side for them. But yeah, I really like the Jags.
It's the Jaguars division. Like nobody in that division, I think, will even come close. Maybe the Titans, but I still think the Jags will win the division by two games at least. And I like Trevor Lawrence. I liked him with Clemson. I like him with Jacksonville, and we saw him improve drastically last year than his first year. And I just think he's going to continue to improve and continue to get better and help that team. Also helped when you have a pretty good running back in Travis Etienne to be a security blanket if you need like to check down or just run the ball. And their defense is also pretty underrated. Like their defense can be a good unit if they all gel together.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. I mean, Jaguars pretty much set up to win that division. There's not much competition there. It's I think the only question if going into the playoffs last year was can the Jaguars win a big game? And I mean, some people could consider the Chargers a big game. Some people won't. I consider that a big game. Winning a playoff game is a big game. And then going to play the Chiefs, and they didn't hold back. They played pretty well against the Chiefs. Who knows? The Jaguars might be that team that's up there with the Bills and the Bills and the Chiefs by the end of the year. Um, this could be a one of those sleeper teams who makes a deep playoff run, maybe be like the Bengals were a couple years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. And it all relies upon Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence is just getting better and better every single game, every single year. And now he's got a whole year under his belt with Doug Peterson. I have my own opinions about Doug Peterson. I hope I'm wrong, but having Calvin Ridley's so good. Calvin Ridley, when he's one of the best route runners in the entire league. You pair him with Trevor Lawrence, this could be one of the scariest duos that we see for the next 10 years. Um, uh, Weird that it is weird. So I watched Penn State football all year last year. I wrote articles on them. Adding Brenton Strange. I actually don't really know why Brenton Strange was drafted so high. I'm actually confused as to why he was drafted at all. Um, he's an okay tight end. I If you're a Jaguars fan, don't expect him to be this monster. Um, I mean, at Penn State, we use three tight ends. We use 3 to 4 tight ends. He caught a couple passes for touchdowns, and he did have Sean Clifford throwing to him. So that's not saying much at all. Sean Clifford is awful. He's one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. You had Anton Harrison, who's going to probably fill in where Cam Robinson is while he's suspended. They might move Cam Robinson over or Anton Harrison after the Robinson suspension. ETN defense is very questionable. Their secondary very very questionable. This team looks pretty good, and their strength of schedule is great. If Trevor Lawrence was the MVP at the end of the year, wouldn't be shocked. They could win, like, if Trevor Lawrence is playing at an MVP level, they could win 12, 13 games. Um, they're just a really good team. They got a lot of key pieces. Hopefully next off season is their big off season to spend and get help on the defensive side and hopefully build up kind of like how the Bills did a couple years into Josh Allen and getting a couple key defensive players.